Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Look at these XRP whales getting all splishy splashy with the XRP. There's a headline from Daily Hodl. Crypto whales emerge as traders track 28,521,383 XRP and 5,376 Bitcoin on the move. Well, how about that? And I think that we're going to see a lot more of this. I just want to say, as the ecosystem around XRP is developed, the way in which Ripple intends for XRP to be utilized as XRP is a bridge currency, moving money around the world, the Internet of Value, as that is developed, I think you're going to see a lot more tremendously large moves, because there's going to need to be a reshuffling of XRP all the time from in terms of what is necessary for liquidity providers, market makers to do their jobs. Because the fact of the matter is, certain corridors are going to get more activity in one direction as opposed to the other. Not all, but most. So there you go. So I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about a little bit about XRP liquidity. I've got some tweets from the XRP community, and then I will wrap up this video with an article from Cointelegraph titled Novogratz launches 2 new Bitcoin funds targeting wealth of America. That's a quote, wealth of America. But before we get going any further here, if you would please ever so delicately tap that like button, and if you are a human, you should subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel, because this channel was designed specifically for people. So go ahead and do that. Into this first piece here now. Crypto whale watchers are tracking a large XRP transaction. On Monday, 28.5 million XRP, worth about $7.4 million, moved from an unknown wallet to the South Korean crypto exchange BitTrue. The move indicates the holder may be looking to sell some of the asset. And of course, this is speculation here, right? And you can see the whale alert on the screen there, November 18th at 6:35 a.m. Meanwhile, as the price of Bitcoin slowly falls toward $8,000, 6 of Bitcoin's largest holders in existence moved a total of 5,376 Bitcoin, worth about $44.4 million. 4 of the transactions involved Bitcoin moving from unknown wallets to crypto exchanges, indicating that the holders may be looking to sell some of their assets. And then they've got a list and state here some of the largest Bitcoin transactions in the last 24 hours, which I'm not going to jump into. Really not the purpose of this video, especially since this is an XRP-centric channel here, right? That's what I'm interested in. Now look, sometimes transactions are tracked, and you can kind of figure out with a reasonable amount of certainty what certain movements of XRP are intended for. I don't know that we have any of that here. I haven't seen that in my Twitter feed at all. None of the specifics. We just know that this occurred, and good old whale alerts here. They're fun to track. But I'm telling you, it really is my my thesis here that you're going to see an increased number of these. And sure, some of these could be just genuine whales, an individual or something like that, just moving a ton of XRP. That some of them could be. But if you just think, especially, and I was kind of mentioning part of this, not for this reason, but I mentioned in a fairly recent video, I hope I was, either that or I was just thinking about it to myself, which could be the case. I think about XRP too much, I admit that. It's a problem. But, hey, at least I still make sure that my dog gets fed, okay? I'm taking care of other stuff. If I had plants, I would water them, okay? I'm taking care of the rest of my life. But, as it pertains to, the first couple corridors that Ripple's tackling, you can think about the U.S. to Mexico, U.S. to Philippines, and of course those corridors, regarding the usage of on-demand liquidity XRP, they are quote-unquote low-hanging fruit. More than one Ripple employee has stated that. And there's a lot of friction there. There's a lot of high costs, right? And the fact of the matter is that most of the money in those corridors is leaving the United States. And so if you're a liquidity provider in the middle, 2 of them, of course. There's BitTrue in the U.S., and then in the Mexico there's Bitso, and in the Philippines there's Coins.ph. So you can imagine that there would be necessarily a reshuffling of XRP necessary, as most of the XRP used for these corridors leaves BitTrue and goes to the other exchanges. So you're going to see more and more large ones, but I think that the transactions, when they are going to the larger cryptocurrency exchanges, those ones, from what I've seen, they seem to be easier to track because it seems like every single time that happens, it's included. People start commenting about it on Twitter specifically, and then it gets picked up in the article. Not necessarily the case here, so I can't tell you specifically what this is, but excuse me. Wow, sorry about that, guys. But I can tell you that anytime this happens, it's going to catch people's attention. So I'm always curious, and when we can find out the specifics, I'm always interested to look at it a little bit further. Now, on the topic of liquidity, I got this next piece from XRP Crypto Wolf. Well, specifically, what he included was just this picture here, and I'm going to show you. There's a couple of reasons I find it fascinating. First of all, the content is interesting. There's also, so far as I can tell, a notable mistake on here. So take a look at this. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. And here we go. So here's the article from A&B Crypto. XRP Liquidity Index surpasses 6 million on BitSo to record all-time high. Now, of course, this is badassness, right? Is it not badassness? This is what we've been looking for, actual utility. And of course, fine, you can say, where's the price action as a result? But I think you're going to have to wait for more and more people to figure this out. I keep saying utility matters, and I really genuinely believe it, but there are only so many new participants entering the ecosystem on a day-to-day basis. It's going to take time, but I don't think we've seen the last of parabolic action. But in terms of price action, I will say this. When next time there is parabolic action, if it's in the near term, it's purely going to be speculation. It won't be based on utility necessarily. If it's in the very near term, because the adoption of XRP is taking time, and that's why I say if you look, years out, I'm not going to make up a number. It doesn't matter, 3, 4, 5, or whatever. Okay, I just made up a numbers, but I'm just saying whatever it is, it's at some point there will be so many players in the space in terms of just new retail speculators, and certainly new institutional money as well. And the smart money is going to go where there is utility. I believe that. Not financial advice. I'm just telling you what I personally believe because I don't have a financial background here. But let me dig in here. Let me show you why I think that this is both awesome and share with you a silly little mistake here. Ripple's on-demand liquidity platform has grown 7-fold in 2019 and has managed to expand its reach by signing on new on-demand liquidity customers across the world. The company had, in fact, recently announced the opening of gateways to Australia after its successful implementation in Mexico, the Philippines, and later Brazil. The XRP/MXN corridor has been highly active since its inception and has been marking new all-time highs every few days. However, it crossed an important milestone on November 18th, with the liquidity exceeding 6 million on BitSo. And here's the chart right here. And here's what I wanted to highlight, because I don't think anybody caught this, and I don't know if this chart came from XRP Crypto Wolf or if we just found it and shared it. There, I saw it. Well, the reason I say that is, and I do appreciate you, XRP Crypto Wolf, for sharing information with me. I saw a number of people sharing this exact same chart without it being a retweet, so I don't actually know necessarily where it originated from. But take a look at this. Let me here. I'll just blow it up on XRP Crypto Wolf right here. If you're looking at your screen. See what I'm circling right here? Current date, January 1st, 1970. So, the good news is, this chart's from 1970, and we're talking about XRP liquidity in 1970, because that was a thing back then, of course. And so you can just imagine, given that this is a chart from 1970, if we could just fast forward to 2019, can you imagine, if this is the liquidity we're already seeing here in the spike, can you imagine what it would look like by the time 2019 November rolls around? It must be monstrous, right? So look, I don't know what happened with this chart. Now, I'm assuming this is completely accurate. Crypto media, A&B Crypto, seems to have not noticed that either. They just plastered this up and went with the fun headline there. But this chart, it looks pretty, as far as I can tell, pretty much exactly like the last one that I saw that had the correct dates on it. So I don't know what led to the dates, but I have to mention this, or else if I reported on this and it was clearly stating 1970, and I didn't at least acknowledge it, you might be like, what the hell? It is you smoking Moon Lambo. Well, nothing. I did acknowledge the problem here, but I suspect it's the data. Again, as far as I can tell, the data here, the actual chart here, it looks accurate. It's just I think it's an issue of it being dated improperly for whatever reason. But anyway, there we are. So let me go ahead and scroll down a little bit. So the liquidity index bot on Twitter reported that the liquidity of the quarter reached an all-time high of 6,023,781. XRP/MXN represented 65.78% of the total volume on the exchange, while BTC/MXN remained second with 27.87% of the volume as recorded by CoinMarketCap. Right? A few days ago, Senior Vice President of Ripple Spring, Ethan Beard, spoke about how Ripple's indulgence in the crypto space boosted XRP's liquidity from $100,000 a day to $200 million on any given day. The VP added, quote, and I did report on this, but I'll read the quote anyway. We, Ripple, also work closely with market makers to make sure there's adequate liquidity for the transactions that are coming through. One of the keys is just not spiking the system where you are moving prices. Bam, exactly what I was saying at the beginning of the video. This is exactly what I was talking about. So it's going to be a reshuffling of XRP as is necessary. So expect a lot of large transactions. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, maybe, okay, they could batch them in a series of small ones, but look, when there's crazy volume flowing through in the years to come, even small batches are going to seem gigantic to us. So I think that there's going to be endless quantities of this. And that's why I think that the requirements for quote-unquote whale movements to make the news in crypto media in the future, I think the bar is going to get raised as time passes. I think it would be fair to guess that, right? All right, next here, this is a tweet from BitTrue. It's just a fact that I found fascinating. BitTrue cryptocurrency exchange, which I have never used. But it states 7.52% of all XRP volume now goes through the BitTrue exchange. Rising through the charts day by day, BitTrue and XRP go together like peanut butter and jelly. Well, how about that? Or perhaps you prefer spaghetti and a meatball. Yes, indeed. So cool stuff. I just thought I'd highlight it because I didn't know that, and that does seem like a rather substantial amount of the volume, considering XRP is only on, I say only, it's on something like, I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of like 150 exchanges or something like that. So that's a huge freaking chunk of that. I personally haven't used BitTrue. I just thought I'd mention it. I've been using Uphold, and I've just been very happy with them. And so it's kind of one of those things where, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I've been very happy with Uphold. I've been using them for, I think it was since summer of last year. But it was just, I kid you not, and I haven't mentioned this in a long time, so I guess I'll say it again. But from signing up to purchasing my first XRP when I got on Uphold, it all happened. And I'm talking registering and everything, getting approved, all that stuff. It happened inside like 15 minutes. It blew my freaking mind, especially considering that I jumped into the world of crypto in November of 2017, back when it took forever. There's backlogs of getting registered with cryptocurrency exchanges and actually getting money onboarded and stuff like that. So anyway, but props to BitTrue for pulling that off. That sounds fantastic. So I just thought I'd highlight it. Next year, here's a tweet. And I don't know what this is. Is IVNO a threat to Ripple and XRP? So I guess it's a cryptocurrency. I haven't researched it, but for the sake of my coverage in this video, frankly, it really doesn't matter. But anyway, so I was tagged in this, and so shout out to you, XRP Supreme, for tagging me. I do appreciate it. Somebody named Chuck D responded, "Great question. From a quick glimpse, looks like this project is linked in with many of the same financial institutions that Ripple is. Familiar names: R3, Corda, SBI, Microsoft. IVNO and XRP may wind up sharing each other's rails in the future, each financial institution looking for a piece of the big pie." Greeting Eggs in Ham on Twitter, that's Sam from To The Lifeboats, fellow XRP YouTuber. He responded exactly in line with what I was initially thinking when I read this. Are they building a global liquidity network? Exactly. So is IVNO intended to replace Nostra Vostra accounts? Is there any entity in the world actively making that happen? Because if it's not being built out, it's not going to occur, because the way XRP works is, the power of it, you can't just replace it with any coin because you have to have sufficient liquidity the world over, and there isn't even sufficient liquidity with XRP yet. Like, that's being built, and it's the coolest thing in the freaking world. So is IVNO a threat? Without doing any research, I can tell you, unless somebody's positioning it to that, no. So I would say that. Now, if somebody is positioning it to that, make me research it. Somebody shout out in the comments below, yell at me on Twitter, be like, yes, they are. Then I will look at it, but I'd be surprised. Like, I haven't heard of anybody else going to market the way that Ripple is, right? Next here, the last piece for the video from Cointelegraph. Novogratz launches 2 new Bitcoin funds targeting wealth of America. Michael Novogratz's crypto merchant bank Galaxy Digital is launching 2 Bitcoin funds targeting people between the ages of 50 and 80. The new funds aim to bring the wealth of America, or people who may have largely remained out of crypto investing, to cryptocurrency markets, Novogratz told Bloomberg on November 19th. According to Bloomberg, the funds will offer third-party custody from major crypto consortium-backed and Fidelity digital assets, the digital asset arm of American investment management company Fidelity Investments. The two new Bitcoin funds, Galaxy Bitcoin Fund and Galaxy Institutional Bitcoin Fund, have reportedly been established with Galaxy's own money and some participation from existing investors, according to the report. The Galaxy Bitcoin Fund will require a $25,000 minimum investment, and investors will be able to withdraw their funds on a quarterly basis. So it does tie it up for a little bit, apparently. Meanwhile, Galaxy Institutional Bitcoin Fund has weekly liquidity and a higher initial threshold, the report notes. Both funds will reportedly charge lower fees than major Bitcoin funds, such as the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. And then they have a subheading here, Boomer's Wealth is okay. Novogratz's plan will ostensibly bring a significant amount of investment from older demographics, as Bitcoin investment is specifically led by the tech-savvy younger generation and the 18 to 34 age range. Which, by the way, and I mentioned this the other day, but I have to mention it again just because, just given what was stated there, 18 to 34 age range. My channel, and I don't know if it's unique to my channel, but I would, if I had to guess, and I don't know this, but if I had to guess, it's probably representative of the XRP community. I don't know that. But the people listening to my channel, on YouTube at least, they're my age or older, and I'm a 36-year-old man. So 36 to, I don't know, 60s, late 60s maybe. That's who's listening to my channel, if that tells you anything. So really 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, that's mostly, and then you got about a third that are younger than that. But it's mostly people my age or older. So it's completely the opposite of what you'd expect based on even this article right here where they're talking about 18 to 34-year-olds. No. And that's who I thought would, like, if I had to guess just starting this channel, I would have guessed that would have been probably the age range. Like, I would have been one of the older ones. No, that's actually not the case. I'm not even halfway to being the oldest. Really, not really. Most are older. So again, I don't know if it's representative of the XRP community, but I found that quite fascinating, though. And I think it's just because it's where the smart money's going, frankly, because utility matters. I mean, this is just speculation, fine, but that's what it seems to me. It's all intelligent people that are well researched in this space, not here for ideological reasons. But anyway, then states, meanwhile, the share of American Bitcoin investors over 50 years old reportedly counts for 3%. Think about that. Meanwhile, the share of American Bitcoin investors over 50 years old reportedly accounts for 3%. I'm telling you, man, I'm seeing dramatically different numbers for my channel, so just take it for what it's worth. I can't necessarily explain it, but I'm just speculating here, but it is what it is. Anyway, according to a recent study from wealth management firm United Income, Americans under 50 only hold 16% of all investable assets, compared with 31% in 1989. This leaves a massive amount of untapped wealth among older investors that, according to United Income, will comprise $36 trillion in inheritances in the next 30 years. So there you go. But that's it for this video. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!